The UES Dauntless moved quietly through space, far from Earth. Captain Mina Park watched the stars on the main screen. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, and her uniform showed her many years of service. "Captain, we've checked this area. Nothing unusual here," said Lieutenant Ta. His hands moved quickly over the control panel that glowed in front of him. "Good work. Let's go to the next area," Mina said. She had been captain for 5 years now. The Dauntless was an exploration ship, meant to find new worlds and make contact with other life. So far, they had found only empty planets. The ship's computer voice suddenly filled the bridge. "Captain, I see an unknown ship at position 047 to 12. It's not in our records." Mina stood straighter. This was unusual. Try to talk to them. Use all channels. Jin, the communications officer, worked at his station. His fingers moved fast as he tried different ways to make contact. After trying for a long time, he looked up. "They're not answering, Captain." "They can hear us, but they won't respond." The bridge was quiet. First contact with a new species was what they had trained for, but something felt wrong. "I'm seeing strange energy readings from their ship," the computer said. "They seem to be getting ready to fire weapons." Mina's heart beat faster. "Put shields up. Move away from them," she shouted. But it was too late. The alien ship fired a bright beam that cut through the side of the Dauntless. The bridge shook hard. Lights exploded around them, and smoke filled the air. People fell from their chairs, and alarms started to ring throughout the ship. "How bad is it?" Mina called out, holding onto her chair to stay standing. Ta wiped blood from his face. "Main power is gone. We have holes in the ship on decks 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Mina knew what she had to do, even though it broke her heart. Everyone must leave the ship. Send a message to Earth. Tell them what happened and send all information about the ship that attacked us. As the crew ran to the escape pods, Mina stayed on the bridge until the end. The computer sent all its information to her escape pod before the ship's systems shut down. The last thing it found was that the attacking ship belonged to aliens called the Valorax. In her escape pod, Mina watched through the small window as the Dauntless, her home for 5 years, broke apart. The alien ship moved closer, its strange shape like nothing humans had ever seen before. It was not flat like Earth ships, but curved like a sea creature, with lights glowing along its sides. "Why did they attack?" she whispered. "We meant no harm." Her pod's small computer spoke. "Captain, I saved all sensor data. The Valorax ship scanned us before firing. They knew we were not a warship." This worried Mina even more. It meant the attack was not a mistake or a misunderstanding. These aliens had chosen to fire on an exploration vessel that posed no threat. As her pod floated away, Mina saw other pods from her crew scattered around her. She used the pod's communication system. "All crew, report in." One by one, voices came through. Many were hurt, but most had escaped. Some pods didn't answer. Mina marked their locations, hoping rescue ships would find them. "What do we do now, Captain?" asked Jin's voice through the system. "We wait," Mina said. "Help will come. Earth will not ignore an attack on one of its ships." Days passed slowly in the small pod. Mina used the time to study the data they had collected on the Valorax ship. Its weapons were like nothing humans had. The energy beam had cut through their shields as if they weren't there. On the 5th day, the pod sensors detected ships coming out of hyperspace. Mina held her breath, fearing more Valorax ships. Instead, she saw the familiar shape of Earth vessels. The biggest was the UES Defender, one of Earth's most powerful warships. As her pod was pulled into the Defender's hangar bay, Mina prepared her report. Earth needed to know everything about this new enemy. She knew that her quiet life of exploration was over. Now humans would have to learn to fight a war they never wanted. Admiral Kang met her as she stepped out of the pod. His face was serious as he saluted her. "Captain Park, we got your message. Earth is preparing for war." Mina nodded, tired but determined. "The Valarax attacked without reason, Admiral. We need to be ready. They'll be back." As the medical team checked her injuries, Mina looked around at the Defenders' military crew. They were not explorers like her team. They were warriors. "We'll make them regret attacking the Dauntless," Admiral Kang said. "Earth has never wanted war with other species, but we will defend ourselves." Mina thought of her lost ship and the crew members who didn't answer her calls. "Yes," she said quietly. "We will." The Defender turned and headed back toward Earth, carrying the survivors and the warning of a new threat from the stars. The age of peaceful exploration was over. The time for humans to prove themselves in battle had begun. The large meeting room on Earth fell silent as Admiral Da walked to the front. 50 of Earth's top military leaders watched him with worried faces. The wall screen showed pictures of the destroyed ship Dauntless. Some people in the room had lost friends on that ship. "This attack came without warning," Admiral Da said. His voice was deep and clear. "Our best information says these aliens, the Valarax, attack any other species they find. They think all other life forms are threats." The room stayed quiet. This was Earth's first war with aliens. Humans had met 3 other species before, but all those meetings had been peaceful. Commander Han stood up next to Admiral Da. She was shorter than him, but had an air of strength about her. "We must send our best ships now. I suggest Strike Force Omega, led by the UES Thunderchild with Admiral Sue in command." Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Everyone knew Admiral Sue. She had started as a young officer during the Mars Rebellion and had won every battle she ever fought. Some called her the best military mind of her time. "Approved," said the Earth president from the head of the table. "Admiral Sue will lead our response. May she bring our people victory." Across the solar system, on the military base orbiting Jupiter, Admiral Sue was already preparing. News traveled fast in space. She knew she would be called to lead this fight. 6 hours later, the captains of 10 powerful Earth ships gathered in the meeting room of the Thunderchild. The Thunderchild was Earth's newest battleship, bigger than any ship humans had built before. Its weapons could destroy a small moon. Admiral Sue wasn't tall or loud, but when she spoke, everyone listened. Her gray-streaked hair was cut short, and her uniform had fewer medals than she had earned. She didn't like to show off. "The Valarax ships are stronger than ours," she said, showing pictures of the alien vessel that attacked the Dauntless. "Their weapons cut through our best shields. Their own shields are harder than anything we've seen." Captain Hyun of the UES Intrepid raised his hand. He was young for a captain, but smart. "If we fight them the normal way, we'll lose." Admiral Sue smiled slightly. "Exactly, so we won't fight the normal way. We will use Operation Stormbreak." The room buzzed with excitement. Operation Stormbreak was a new battle plan Sue had created. It had never been used in real combat. "The Valarax fight in tight formations," Sue explained, showing computer models of how the aliens moved their ships. "They expect enemies to do the same. But humans have never fought like anyone expects us to." She touched her control panel and a new image appeared. It showed Earth ships moving in a pattern that looked random but wasn't. "We will attack from multiple directions. We will use tricks. We will make them think we are weak, then hit them hard when they don't expect it." The captains leaned forward, studying the plan. It was risky but brilliant. Captain Mina Park was there too. After being rescued, she had been given a new position on the Thunderchild. She knew the Valarax better than anyone. "Will this work against an enemy we know so little about?" she asked. "That's why you're here, Captain Park," Admiral Sue said. "You've seen them. You know how they fight. You will help us adjust our plans as we learn more." The meeting continued for hours as they refined the details. Engineers prepared special weapons. Communication officers created new codes that the Valarax couldn't break. Every crew member trained for battle scenarios. 24 hours later, the 10 ships of Strike Force Omega lined up for the jump to hyperspace. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, Admiral Sue sat in the command chair. Captain Park stood nearby at a science station. "All ships report ready," said the communications officer. Admiral Sue nodded. "Begin jump countdown." As the computer counted down from 10, Sue thought about the responsibility on her shoulders. Not just for her crews, but for all of humanity. If they failed here, Earth might be next. 3, 2, 1, jump. The stars stretched into lines as the ships entered hyperspace. The journey would take 3 hours to reach the border system where the Dauntless had been destroyed. During the journey, Admiral Sue visited different parts of her ship. She talked with crew members, checking that everyone understood their part in the plan. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Ba was preparing a special surprise for the Valarax. "We've modified the engine output," he told Sue. "We can make it look like our ship is badly damaged when it's not. The energy signature will fool their sensors." "Good work," Sue said. "That trick might save lives." On the weapons deck, teams were loading special missiles designed to confuse alien sensors. In the medical bay, doctors prepared for casualties. When they were 1 hour from their destination, Sue called all ship's crews to attention. Her face appeared on screens throughout Strike Force Omega. "Today we fight not just for the crew of the Dauntless, but for the future of humanity," she said. "The Valarax believe we are weak. They will learn otherwise." A cheer went through the ships. These weren't just military people. They were explorers, scientists, engineers. People who had hoped to meet aliens in peace, but were ready to fight if needed. As they approached the exit point from hyperspace, Admiral Sue returned to the bridge and took her seat. "All ships, prepare for battle stations," she ordered. "Operation Stormbreak begins in 5 minutes." The hyperspace engine slowed, and the stars returned to normal. Ahead of them lay the place where the Dauntless had been destroyed, and somewhere nearby the enemy waited. "Enemy vessel detected," announced the sensor officer. Then a pause. "Multiple enemy vessels detected." On the main screen, 7 Valarax ships appeared, more than they had expected. Their strange curved shapes looked alien and threatening against the blackness of space. Admiral Sue's face showed no fear, only determination. "All ships, battle formation. Weapons ready. Let's show them how humans fight." The 10 ships of Strike Force Omega came out of hyperspace together. What they saw made everyone on the bridge of the Thunderchild grow quiet. 3 Valarax warships floated near the broken pieces of the Dauntless. They were using beams of light to pull parts of the destroyed ship into their own vessels. "They're taking our technology," Captain Park whispered. "Learning about us." Admiral Sue's face showed no emotion, but her voice was hard as she spoke. "Battle formations. All ships, weapons free." The Valarax ships were unlike anything humans had built. They looked almost alive, with smooth curves instead of sharp edges. Their hulls shimmered with a strange metal that changed colors as they moved. Ports along their sides glowed with bright energy, ready to fire. The alien ships moved quickly, forming a triangle pattern. They moved together perfectly, as if one mind controlled all 3 ships. "They're preparing to fire," called out Officer Wu, who watched the tactical screens. All ships, shields at maximum, Admiral Sue ordered. The Valarax fired first. Beams of orange energy shot across space and hit the human ships. The shields of the Thunderchild lit up bright blue as they tried to stop the attack. The bridge shook hard. Smoke came from one control panel. A crew member rushed to put out the small fire. Damage report, Sue demanded, holding onto her chair. Shields at 60% power, Wu reported. All ships in the fleet report similar damage. Their weapons are stronger than we thought. Any normal commander might have ordered a retreat, but Admiral Sue wasn't normal. Implement Operation Stormbreak, she said calmly. Groups 2 and 4 execute Maneuver Delta. The human fleet suddenly split apart. 4 ships went up, 3 went down, and 3 stayed in the middle. To the Valarax, it must have looked like the humans were in chaos, running away in different directions. But this was the plan all along. The UES Valiant and UES Courage fired special missiles that exploded between the ships. The explosions weren't meant to damage the Valarax, but to create clouds of small metal pieces that confused their sensors. "They're having trouble tracking us," Captain Park said, watching the enemy ship's movements. "Their formation is breaking." 2 human ships, the UES Swift and UES Horizon, fired at one Valarax ship from opposite sides. The alien vessel couldn't defend both sides at once. Its shields weakened. On the Thunderchild, Admiral Sue pointed to a large gas giant planet nearby. "Captain Min, take the Defiant behind that planet. Use its gravity to increase your speed, then attack the main Valarax ship from behind." Captain Min's face appeared on the screen. "Yes, Admiral." "Beginning gravity assist maneuver now." The UES Defiant turned and raced toward the huge planet. It looked like they were running away, but they were actually following a carefully planned move. The battle continued. Human ships darted between asteroids, using the rocky field for cover. They fired quick shots, then moved to new positions before the Valarax could target them. "The aliens are trying to regroup," Wu reported. "They seem confused by our movement patterns." "Good," Admiral Sue said. "Keep them guessing." Then the UES Defiant completed its move. The ship had swung around the gas giant, using the planet's gravity to throw it forward at incredible speed. It came out from behind the planet and raced toward the largest Valarax ship from behind. "Firing all weapons," Captain Min reported. The Defiant's lasers and missiles hit the back of the Valarax ship where its shields were weakest. The alien vessel shuddered, and part of its hull broke open, venting air and debris into space. For the first time, the aliens showed they could be heard. A cheer went up across the human fleet, but Admiral Sue raised her hand for quiet. "Don't celebrate yet," she warned. "Look." The damaged Valarax ship was healing itself. The hole in its hull was slowly closing, like skin healing over a wound. "Their ships can repair themselves," Captain Park said in amazement. "No wonder they're so confident." The battle had been going on for 20 minutes. Human ships were taking damage. The UES Horizon had lost engine power and was drifting. 2 more ships reported their shields were failing. But the Valarax were no longer attacking as effectively. Their perfect formation was broken. They seemed unsure how to fight an enemy that didn't follow normal battle rules. Then the largest Valarax ship did something unexpected. It sent out a signal, not an attack, but a communication. "They're calling for help," said Communications Officer Lee. "I can't understand their language, but the signal pattern suggests they're requesting backup." Admiral Sue made a quick decision. "All ships, prepare to withdraw. We've done enough for today." Captain Park looked surprised. "We're retreating, but we have them confused." "This isn't a retreat," Sue explained. "It's strategic. We've learned how they fight, damaged one of their ships, and most importantly, we've shown them humans aren't easy to defeat. But their reinforcements will arrive soon. We need to repair and prepare for the next battle." She gave the order, and the human fleet began to pull back in good order. The Thunderchild launched cover fire to protect the damaged horizon as it was taken under tow by the UES Courage. As they prepared to jump to hyperspace, Admiral Sue studied the Valorax ships on the screen. The aliens weren't pursuing. They stayed near the damaged ship, perhaps helping it repair. "What do you think they're saying about us now?" Captain Park asked. Admiral Sue allowed herself a small smile. "I think they're wondering what kind of species fights like we do. And I think they're worried." The human ships jumped to hyperspace one by one. They hadn't won the battle, but they hadn't lost either. They had shown the Valorax that humans wouldn't be easily defeated. And Admiral Sue already had plans for their next encounter. 2 weeks passed after the first battle. The human fleet stayed hidden in a small star system, making repairs. Earth sent more ships to help them. These new ships brought special weapons and technology that scientists had been working on day and night. Admiral Sue called her officers to the main meeting room on the Thunderchild. The room was crowded with captains, engineers, and scientists. Everyone looked tired but determined. Dr. Kang, a small woman with quick eyes and hands that never stopped moving, stood at the front of the room. She had been studying the data from the first battle. "We finally know why we couldn't talk to the Valorax," she said. "They don't use radio waves or light signals like we do. They use something called quantum entanglement." Captain Park frowned. "What is that?" "It's when two particles are linked," Dr. Kang explained. "Whatever happens to one happens to the other, no matter how far apart they are. It's instant communication across any distance. So our messages never reached them because we were using the wrong method," Admiral Sue said. "Like trying to send mail to someone who only uses email." Dr. Kang nodded. "Exactly." Atlas, the AI from the Dauntless that was now installed on the Thunderchild, spoke through the room's speakers. "I have created a program that can listen to some of their communications. It's not perfect, but it should help us know what they will do in battle." Admiral Sue smiled for the first time in days. "Good work. This will help us a lot." The fleet trained for another week, practicing new battle plans. Engineers added the new weapons to all ships. The Valorax wouldn't find them easy to beat this time. Then the day came for the second battle. The human fleet waited near two stars that circled each other, a binary star system. The strange gravity and radiation would help hide some of their ships. Enemy ships detected called the sensor officer. Many more than before. At least 6 large vessels and 8 smaller ones. Admiral Sue's face was calm, but her hands tightened on the arms of her chair. All ships, battle stations. The Valorax fleet came in fast. They had changed their formation. Now they spread out more, making it harder for humans to target them all at once. "They've learned from last time," Captain Park said quietly. The battle began badly for the humans. 3 ships took heavy damage in the first few minutes. The UES Swift lost all power and had to be defended by other ships as rescue vessels tried to save the crew. "They're adapting to our tactics," Captain Min reported from the UES Defiant. His face on the screen showed a cut above his eye. "The tricks that worked before aren't working now." Admiral Sue stayed calm. "Fall back to position, Beta. Let's see what their next move is." As the human ships pulled back, Atlas suddenly spoke. "Admiral, I've broken into more of their communications. I have important information." Everyone on the bridge turned to listen. "The Valorax believe humans are not intelligent," Atlas said. "They think we are biological machines, like robots made of flesh. They believe we are controlled by some master species they haven't seen yet. Admiral Sue's eyes went wide. They think we're drones, not thinking beings. Yes, Atlas confirmed. They are looking for our real masters while trying to destroy what they think are our automated defense systems, our ships. The bridge was silent for a moment as everyone took in this news. Then Admiral Sue started to laugh. It was a sound no one had heard from her before. "This changes everything," she said. "Implement the Chimera Protocol immediately." The Chimera Protocol was a battle plan so strange that many officers had questioned it during training. Now they understood why Admiral Sue had created it. The human fleet suddenly changed its behavior. 5 ships formed into a perfect line and moved in mechanical patterns, just like machines would. At the same time, the other ships moved in wild, unpredictable ways that no computer would plan. On the Valarax ships, the aliens must have been very confused. "Look at their formation," Captain Park said, pointing to the screen. "They don't know which group to focus on." The Valarax ships hesitated. Some turned toward the ships moving in perfect formation, thinking those must be the main computer-controlled vessels. Others tried to track the wildly moving ships, thinking those might be controlled by the master species. "Now," ordered Admiral Sue, "all ships, attack pattern Omega." The human fleet suddenly came together in a new formation that the Valarax had never seen before. Ships that had seemed to be operating separately now worked in perfect coordination. They attacked from all sides at once. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, Officer Wu reported excitedly, "Their shields are weakening. They can't defend against attacks from so many directions." "Keep pressing," Admiral Sue ordered. "Don't give them time to think." The battle turned. Human ships started in and out, firing at weak points in the Valarax defenses. The special weapons from Earth's laboratories proved effective, creating holes in alien shields that regular weapons then exploited. 3 Valarax ships were heavily damaged now. The others tried to protect them, but they couldn't maintain their formation. "They're sending signals again," Atlas reported. "Many signals. They seem to be arguing among themselves about what we are." Admiral Sue nodded. "Good. Keep them confused." All ships continued the Chimera Protocol. The human fleet kept switching between ordered patterns and chaotic movements. Sometimes ships would move in ways that seemed random and emotional, like angry attacks or fearful retreats. Other times they would move with cold precision like machines. The Valarax command structure requires certainty, Atlas explained. Their society is built on clear categories. If something doesn't fit a category, they struggle to respond to it. After an hour of battle, the Valarax began to retreat. The remaining ships pulled back, still firing, but clearly preparing to leave. "Should we pursue?" asked Captain Park. Admiral Sue shook her head. "No, let them go. They need time to think about what they've seen. And we need to prepare for the final confrontation." As the Valarax ships disappeared into hyperspace, a cheer went up across the human fleet. They had won their first victory against the powerful aliens. "What happens next?" Captain Park asked. Admiral Sue looked at the stars. "Now we prepare for the real battle. They'll bring everything they have next time, and we'll be ready." A bright, dangerous light filled space near the neutron star. The star sent out waves of radiation that could kill any living thing not protected by strong shields. But Admiral Sue had chosen this place for the final battle for exactly this reason. The radiation would help hide her ships. "All ships in position," reported Officer Wu. "The radiation bursts are hiding our rear squadron just as we planned." Admiral Sue nodded. She stood tall on the bridge of the Thunderchild, hands behind her back. Captain Mina Park stood next to her, watching the screens that showed the space around them. Valorak's fleet approaching, announced the sensor officer. 15 ships. Their flagship is twice the size of anything we've seen before. The main screen showed the Valorak ships coming closer. Their flagship was shaped like a giant spiral, turning slowly as it moved. It looked beautiful and deadly at the same time. "They've brought everything they have," Mina said quietly. Admiral Sue's face showed no fear. "So have we." The human fleet had grown too. 20 ships now made up Strike Force Omega, including 5 new vessels with the latest weapons from Earth. "Atlas, are you ready?" Admiral Sue asked. The ship's A replied, "Yes, Admiral. I can broadcast the mixed signals we planned. The Valoraks will receive very confusing information about who or what is controlling our ships." "Good." Sue turned to the fleet communications. "All ships, prepare for Battle Plan Phoenix. Wait for my signal." The two fleets faced each other across the space near the neutron star. Neither side moved for several minutes. It was like they were sizing each other up, like two fighters before a match. Then Admiral Sue said one word, "Now." What happened next was the most complex space maneuver humans had ever attempted. The fleet split into 3 groups. Each group moved in a different pattern. One moved like machines, perfect and predictable. One moved wildly, like angry animals. The third moved in ways that seemed to have no pattern at all. At the same time, Atlas sent out signals that made it seem like different intelligence systems were fighting for control of the human ships. On the main screen, they could see the Valorak's fleet pause. Their perfect formation wavered. Some ships turned one way, some another. "They're confused," Mina said. "They don't know which group to focus on." "Their whole society is based on clear rules and categories," Sue explained. "We're showing them something that breaks all their rules. They don't know how to respond." In that moment of confusion, the human fleet struck. All 3 groups suddenly came together in a perfect attack formation. They hit the Valorak's fleet from 3 sides at once. The new weapons worked better than anyone had hoped. Special missiles found weak spots in the Valorak's shields. Beams of energy cut through their hulls. The Valorak's flagship took heavy damage. Its spiral shape stopped turning. Lights along its side went dark. "Their weapons are offline," reported Officer Wu. "Their main engines, too." Now Atlas, ordered Admiral Sue, try to talk to them. Atlas had been studying Valorak's communication methods for weeks. Now the AI sent a signal using quantum entanglement, the same method the aliens used. "I've made contact," Atlas announced after a tense minute. "They're responding. I can translate." Words in the Valorak's language appeared on the screen, with human words below them. "We will hear you," the message said. "What are you?" Admiral Sue dictated a reply. "We are humans. We are an intelligent species from the planet Earth. We want to know why you attacked our ships without warning." There was a long pause. Then new words appeared on the screen. "You move like the destroyers. Your ships change patterns like theirs. We thought you were their scouts, sent ahead to find new victims." Mina leaned forward. "Destroyers? Who are the destroyers?" More words came through. "They came from the core of the galaxy. They destroyed our home worlds. We are all that remains of our civilization. We run looking for a safe place. When we saw your ships changing patterns like theirs, we attacked first. Better to strike than to be destroyed again." The bridge of the Thunderchild was silent. The Valoraks weren't invaders. They were refugees, running from something worse. "Tell them we are not these destroyers," Admiral Sue said. "We want to talk in person, to understand each other." 3 days later, Captain Mina Park stood in the diplomatic room of the Thunderchild. Across from her was Supreme Commander Jun of the Valorax. He was tall and thin with skin that shimmered like his ship's. His eyes were large and completely black. They had been talking for hours, learning about each other. Translators helped them understand each other's words. "Your species is strange to us," Jun said. "You fight with both perfect order and complete chaos. We did not think this was possible in one species." Mina smiled slightly. "Contradictions are what make us human. We can be logical and emotional at the same time. Perhaps this is why the destroyers have not found your worlds yet," Jun said. "They look for patterns. You change your patterns." "Tell me more about these destroyers," Mina said. "If they're coming, we need to be ready." As they talked, Admiral Sue watched from across the room. She had won the battle, but this conversation was just as important. Earth needed allies, not enemies, for what might be coming. Later, after the Valorax had returned to their ships, Sue stood by the window, looking at the stars. "Do you think we can trust them?" Mina asked, coming to stand beside her. "I think we have to try," Sue replied. "If these destroyers are real, we'll need the Valorax's help. And they'll need ours." In the days that followed, more Earth ships arrived. So did more Valorax vessels. Engineers from both species began working together, sharing technology. Military leaders planned joint defenses. It wasn't easy. There were misunderstandings and arguments. But slowly, the two species began to learn how to work together. "It's strange," Mina said to Admiral Sue one day as they watched humans and Valorax working side by side on a new defense system. 2 weeks ago, we were trying to kill each other." "That's the true strength of humanity," Sue replied. "Not just how we fight wars, but how we make peace. How we turn enemies into friends." She looked out at the stars, toward the core of the galaxy where this new threat might be waiting. "And we'll need all the friends we can get for what's coming next." The end.